What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I want to talk about what's going to happen this week regarding the stimulus package, regarding the debt ceiling, what Democrats are doing, and how right now Democrats do have a plan to push more through, and it's because of the increased inflation that we have seen over the past few months. We also have, I want to address the utility price hikes. I've been getting a lot of questions from people across the country asking, is there anything for people regarding utility payments? There is. I will address that in today's video. First, hopefully you guys are having an incredible Saturday so far. If you guys have anything fun planned this weekend, let me know what you're doing down in the comment section below. Also, if you could, go ahead, hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. Now, let's get into the update for today. Even though there have been 43 deaths in the US from the Omicron variant, more and more states are concerned over the Delta variant. Now, here's what you need to keep in mind. Currently, hospitalizations are on the rise in 37 states, and lawmakers want to use this time to rethink the upcoming infrastructure bill because of those cases. Now, here's what I want to bring up. Multiple lawmakers have questioned whether it's a good idea to pass infrastructure, right? Even that $1.2 trillion, that pure infrastructure bill, that was still a question mark. Many people were wondering, does it make sense to pass infrastructure when we are potentially on the brink of going back into the pandemic, going back into the surging cases? And so this is why many lawmakers questioned where some of the money was actually going. Well, they still question that to this day. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, he says that right now President Biden, he must extend the student loan payment pause because of the Omicron variant uncertainty. Now, one thing I can tell you, even though the Omicron variant seems like it's going to be less dangerous than the Delta variant, it's more infectious, it's going to spread rapidly, and that is why lawmakers are calling this uncertainty, is because they say that there's a prediction that the Omicron variant will lead into future variants. That's a big issue because we don't know what to expect. So that is one thing that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is asking for, is let's just extend the student loan payment pause. Well, that helps out students, right? Well, who else could we help out? Well, he admitted yesterday that paid leave is one of the most important planks in the Build Back Better Act. He says that this needs to be included. This is going to help out millions of families, and it will. He also feels that a cap of about $500,000 for the SALT tax deduction is still a good number. Bernie Sanders wants it to be under $400,000 per year of income, but this is where the fighting goes back and forth, because some say, let's not put a cap on the SALT tax deductions. But again, this is just helping out the rich. He also knows that it is extremely important to get the child tax credit payments extended because they have pulled more than 50% of children out of poverty. And without this, those children, those families, could fall right back in. Now, even though these are all considered very important to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, this is actually a little bit of an issue. Yesterday, with the request from Republican Lindsey Graham, the CBO released another report. And in their report, it gives a more detailed outline of how much this Build Back Better Act is ultimately going to cost. Well, yesterday the CBO reported that if most provisions within the Build Back Better Act were made permanent, that it would actually increase the national deficit by $2.75 trillion over 10 years. And if you include interest costs as well, it would push the deficit over $3 trillion. Now, why is this just now coming out? This is just now coming out because the CBO, they are instructed to read the bill as it is written. And so when they released their report saying that it would increase the deficit by, when you factor in interest costs, it would increase it by about $230 billion over 10 years. This wasn't seen as bad. But Republicans came out and said, you know what? It's missing a lot of stuff. What if these bills, what if these provisions are extended 10 years? Not just 1, 2, or 3 years. Then what? Well, this is what you need to keep in mind. One of the biggest costs in this bill is actually the child tax credit payments. For 1 year only, the child tax credit payments cost $185 billion. If these were extended for 10 years, the CBO says it would add in about $1.6 trillion. Okay? Now you're probably thinking, well, okay, if it's, and I was thinking this too, if it's $185 billion over 10 years, wouldn't that be $1.85 trillion? Yes and no. According to the CBO, some children will obviously grow up, right? They will go from the $250 per month mark up to the $300 mark for children between the ages of 0 and 5. Once they turn 6, they only get paid $250. And once they turn 18, they get 0. So, this is where they came up with $1.6 trillion because we are seeing less children being born. So, it's their report. I'm just reporting on their report. So, here's the problem though. And this is the problem that many Republicans have, or pretty much every single Republican has, that Democrats are just playing these mathematical gimmicks and tricks. And this is also the same problem that moderate Democrats have, and this is one of the issues that Senator Joe Manchin has, is that Democrats aren't being 100% truthful with where they stand and how this bill is really going to impact us moving forward. Now, these provisions are temporary, but even though they're temporary, the way bills are written is they're temporary for a short time, but lawmakers understand that once something is in the system, it's much harder to remove. So once it's there, it's going to be very easy to just extend it. But if it doesn't get extended, it makes it very hard to remove it. So again, just wanted to bring you that because I know a lot of people had questions. Are we going to see something actually happen this week? The expectation is yes, but not on that. The expectation is we are going to be seeing votes on the debt ceiling. So let's address that for a second. This week, congressional leaders came together, they came to an agreement to increase the debt ceiling. On Thursday, the Senate voted to clear the filibuster for a one-time vote on the debt ceiling. However, that bill, it has to still be signed by President Biden before the House and Senate can even vote on the actual debt ceiling increase. So what you are seeing right now, this is just the procedural vote to clear the filibuster, which means this bill will not have to receive 60 votes in the Senate, which means not a single Republican will need to vote for this. Because Republicans do not want to vote for the debt ceiling because the Republican voters will hammer them if they do. So, what's the best thing to do? Well, they have a procedural vote, clear the filibuster for the one-time debt ceiling vote. That already happened. It passed. It will be signed by President Biden. Once it's signed, the bill for the actual debt ceiling will be passed by the House, then by the Senate, then it will be signed by President Biden, and then it will become law. All this stuff does have to happen this week because it must pass within the next 4 days. This must pass before December 15th in order to avoid a debt limit breach. Now, one of the things that we know is really causing a rift within the Republican Party is that, and this is actually bringing Democrats somewhat together, is that many Republicans were extremely upset with Mitch McConnell for even allowing this to happen. Many were just expecting Democrats were going to pretty much breach the debt limit. this was going to obviously hurt the economy. Nobody really wanted this, but they're willing to sacrifice the economy, according to reports, in order to ensure that they win back the House and the Senate, and this would be President Biden's only term as president. Now, we will see what happens with this bill, but honestly, I think this is going to pass. It's going to be pretty much a no-brainer. It's going to be a slam dunk. Every single Republican will vote against it. Every single Democrat will vote for it. But again, this is going to happen this week. The good news is we will not go into an instant recession, which means everybody should still be getting their Social Security payments, right? You should be getting all your benefits, and you don't have to worry about pretty much the economy collapsing. So, now that we're talking about payments, let's talk about the price of utilities. I got a lot of questions, and I've been receiving a lot of questions because gas prices are very high. Now, where I live, or here at my house, we actually have a propane fireplace. Now, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they're saying how natural gas is just so expensive, propane's so expensive, right? Electricity, all expensive, just to heat your home, extremely expensive. In many cities across the country, utility prices have soared. Just for me, just to fill a propane tank, not even a very large one, but it costs $400. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting something a little bit closer to $200, and I get hit with the bill of $400. Imagine my surprise, but gotta pay it. Now, this year, residents have been receiving bills that are more than 50% higher than they were last year. I was victim to that. According to multiple reports, natural gas is up more than 100%. It's more expensive than it was this time last year. In many lower income households, they fear that they won't be able to make it through the winter months. And I understand what they're saying. In some places, like Norway, for example, their government is actually spending an additional $890 million to subsidize household electricity costs. Now, this is actually going to save their residents roughly 50% from the months of December to March. And in the US, we do have some of these benefits as well. Now, there's a website you can go to get more help with your bills. This includes energy bills, and pretty much anybody in the US can go and look at this. You just got to go to usa.gov/help-with-bills. You can go to Google, type in usa.gov help with bills, and it will take you directly there. Now, on this website, you're going to find different links to provide you with assistance for food assistance, grants and loans, military programs and benefits. There's rental assistance programs, and they even will give you answers if you have Social Security questions as well. So it's definitely a good website to get to. Now, one thing I just want to leave you with. Even though we are most likely not going to receive a fourth stimulus check, I think most people have come to that realization by now. Just understand, it doesn't mean there's not additional assistance out there, right? There's still food assistance. There's still rental money that is going around, slow, but it's still going around, right? There's utility assistance. There's a lot of different programs out there. There's money for internet, right? There's a lot of stuff going around, but the problem is you have to go and apply for it. So it takes a little bit of time. It takes some effort, but once you apply for these benefits, in many cases, the people that obviously are qualifying for them, they get their money fairly quickly. So just understand that is what we're seeing at this time. But as I know more regarding some of these different assistance programs, I promise I will bring you those updates as soon as possible. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. Consider subscribing so that I can keep you updated on everything that's going on, and I'll see you guys on the next one.